Hello, Internet. Back here on the outside. Kind of an undisclosed location. Now, I'm not trespassing or anything. My dad owns this property. Last week, I talked about self-awareness and how MBTI can be a starting point for understanding who you are. And, well, I got to thinking. There's so much out there on the internet, on the interwebs, about MBTI, Myers-Briggs, and most of it is like, you don't need to know it. I mean, it's interesting, but it's like not helpful. There's a lot of people who like use Myers-Briggs to justify less than optimal behavior. Let's call it that. So I want to take the next few minutes to like give you like the 1% of MBTI that will get you like 20 to 25% of the way to understanding who you are. And it's basically, I'm going to jump past like the 4-letter codes, INTJ and ESFP and all that stuff. Go straight to the cognitive functions. There are 8 of them. I won't even get into all of them, but there are 8 cognitive functions. We have all 8 somewhere in our brains, like neural pathways or something. We use all 8. And, well, the accepted theory is that we have 4 in our conscious stack and we have 4 in our unconscious stack. And I'm trying to get my lighting just right. Because, I mean, we have trees over here, and if I do this, I'm backlit, and that's a no-no. So I'm trying to work on that. Also try not to trip over branches. But we supposedly have like 4 in our conscious stack and 4 in our unconscious stack, and well, I don't like that. I mean, it's nice, but I don't think it's realistic. Because if you watch my gaming videos, you'll notice that I do a lot of, what if I do this? Or what if I change this around? Or, let's try this. Or why not? Those are signatures of extroverted intuition, which would be in my unconscious stack, because I'm an INTJ. I'm dominant introverted intuition. According to the wording of unconscious stack, I should only be able to do that when I'm asleep. And I do that whenever I want to play. So I like to use the phrase primary stack and parallel stack. The primary is where you want to default when you're serious. And the parallel, that's different. You either see it as recreation, or you don't trust it all that much. It's just like, you don't want to get serious with it, even though it is useful. And then that's kind of the spoiler. That's kind of the point of this entire video. All 8 functions are useful. They have pros and they have cons. Kind of jumping to the end there. But the other big takeaway is that I like to divide these 8 cognitive functions into 2 different categories. And it's not only me dividing them. They're already divided into these 2 big categories by the very terminology. Perception, which deals with how you take in information, how you want to process it. It's data management, basically. And then judgment, how you draw conclusions, how you want to make decisions, how you want to act in the real world. That's it. Input and output. Perception and judgment. That's basically all Myers-Briggs talks about. It's not about you want to eat these foods or you want to live this life. I mean, that's socialization. MBTI is basically like the core way that your brain wants to work when you're bored. And then we get all this socialization and everything. All of our personal baggage and personal history layered on top of that. And that's like the remaining 90% of who we are. It's like MBTI is only like 10%. It's like the starting 10%. It's like the seed. And then we get our entire lives on top of that. The remaining 90%. But, the thing that I wanted to... The 2 big takeaways. Myers-Briggs is not a theory of everything. It's not a theory of all human psychology. but it does talk about how you process information and how you want to make decisions. That's it. And yeah, you can hear traffic in the background. We're not in the city this time, but there is a fairly traveled road out that way. I think another one back out that way as well. That might have been shut down, or might have been. I've not been here in a few years. It's a little run down, which is why I'm trying not to show everything. I may not have succeeded because I have a glare on my screen. Anyway, input and output. That's basically all Myers-Briggs talks about, but the 8 cognitive functions. I would show 8, but I don't have that many fingers available right now. I have 5 dedicated to holding my selfie stick. But the 8 functions, they're like tools. And every tool has a use, but every tool is useful for only so many things. It's like, if you need to put a nail into a wall, you want a hammer. You could use a screwdriver, but if you have a hammer available, you want to use the hammer, not the screwdriver. Although, if a screwdriver is all you have, it's all you have. And that's kind of the thing. We have all 8 cognitive functions. You know, when you need to do your taxes, or whenever I need to balance my checkbook, or keep track of my YouTube metrics, I need to use introverted sensing. And I can use it when I need to, I don't like using it. And, well, extroverted feeling when it comes to understanding other people and how group dynamics work, that's kind of my Achilles heel. That's the one that I really, really don't enjoy using or don't understand. I need to get better at that. And I'm sure that everybody out there has cognitive functions that you need to get better at as well. You know, we all have goals. We all need to grow as people. I'm trying not to sway the camera too much. It's hard to do that while walking. But anyways, Myers-Briggs, not a theory of everything, but it's a good starting point. Input and output, how you handle information, how you want to make decisions, and there's socialization that goes between wanting to make decisions and then choosing what you should do based on other people. And then the 8 cognitive functions, we have all 8. There's some we're good at, there are some we really, really like using, and there's some we don't want to use. But they're all useful for something, and we all need to figure out which ones we need to use in which situations and try to make decisions accordingly. So that's it. That's like the 1% of the theory that can help you get to know yourself better. And hopefully you use this opportunity to actually go online and research all 8 cognitive functions. And remember, take it with a grain of salt, because there's a lot of opinion and a lot of people being rude with their engines. There's a lot of people who want Myers-Briggs to be more than it actually is. Remember, it's actually very, very simple, and so take all the descriptions of the cognitive functions with like kind of a grain of salt, and don't take them as gospel. As just go learn, and whatever applies to you, apply it. Whatever doesn't apply to you, maybe there's a cognitive functions that you need to get better at using in certain situations. Just remember, learn, keep learning. That's it.